Hi, third graders. My name is Mr. Muehlbauer, and I'm the director of the fourth grade band. I wanted to introduce myself to you and also tell you about some of the great opportunities that you're going to have next year as a fourth grader to play in band. In band, there's 7 instruments that are available to you. I have them right up on the board behind me. The instruments that you get to choose from are flute, clarinet, saxophone, trumpet, trombone, baritone, and percussion. Okay, so today we're going to figure out what these instruments sound like. I'm going to try to demonstrate a little bit of each one for you, and then your job is to figure out which one you like the best. Okay, we're going to start right at the top of the list with the flute. So the flute comes in a tiny little case like this. I'm going to open it up and show you what's inside. There's 3 different parts. Okay, so when you get your flute, it'll come just like this in a small case with 3 parts. Let's open them up. And have the big part. We can put the long side in one end, line it up. And then I take the short piece and I put it in the other side. Now the flute is a woodwind instrument. It's kind of like your recorder, but you can see it's got more buttons on it. I'm going to blow into it. It's going to have a very nice high-pitched sound. It's going to be a sweet sound. It's going to be a high-pitched sound. It generally sits in the front of the band and plays nice, fast melodies. Let's listen to the flute. Okay. Now I have a little song here. Let me get it going. I have a little song so you can hear what a flute is going to sound like. This is something that you might play next year in fourth grade band. All right, and that is the flute. Really, really nice instrument. Okay, I'm going to put this one away. And we're going to do next in line. Next in line is the clarinet. Now, the flute and the clarinet are very closely related. Here's why. They're both woodwind instruments. They're both fairly small, and they play high-pitched notes. The size difference, let me get that flute case out again. This is your flute case, and this is your clarinet case. This one's a little taller, this one's a little longer, but they're still very small. If we open up this clarinet case, you're going to see a whole puzzle in there. Look at all those pieces. All right, the first thing you're going to notice about this clarinet is it comes with a little piece of wood. This is called a reed. And the reed, it's a piece of wood. It's kind of like bamboo. It goes in your mouth. When we get it a little bit warmer, we get it kind of wet because what this reed is going to do, when we blow on it, it vibrates back and forth, and it's going to make the sound. All right, so I'm going to put this in my mouth, and I'll show you how to assemble the clarinet. We're going to take the different pieces. Let's see here. Okay, we're going to start putting them together. I know it's kind of hard to hear me talk when I have this in my mouth. It's okay. It looks pretty complicated at first, definitely. But you'll be surprised. We're going to learn how to put this together within the first 2 lessons, and you'll be a champ at it. See, that didn't take very long at all. Okay, so now let's take a look at what this thing looks like. So here's our clarinet. What a beautiful instrument. It's made of plastic. Sometimes they're made of wood. It's got all these keys, all these buttons. My daughter plays the clarinet. She's going into the middle school next year, but she plays the clarinet. So we hear a lot of clarinet at our house. It's one of my favorite instruments. Okay, so here's how this reed works. If I just blow into it all by itself, it doesn't make any noise. Watch. doesn't make any noise. But here's where that magic happens. If I put it up here, right on the tip, I'll teach you how to do this for sure. Okay, and we tighten it down. See how it's on here now? And listen to this. This is going to be pretty cool. Okay, here's our clarinet sound. Isn't that a beautiful sound? I don't know if you can see everything here. Okay, I'll stand up so you can watch the clarinet. What a great sound. Okay, so it still plays fairly high notes. I know I just played some low notes there. But the clarinet plays notes that are pretty high in the band. It's an instrument that can play fast. You can see it has all these different buttons on it. It's a nice little puzzle to play. Let me play an example of something that you might play in fourth grade band if you sign up for the clarinet. It sounds like this. Sorry. And there's that clarinet. Now you heard that mistake in there, right? Even teachers make mistakes. What I did, I was kind of rushing today. I didn't quite have that reed warm enough in my mouth. I would give it a little bit more time next time, and then I wouldn't have any of those squeaks. But it happens, right? Okay, so that's the clarinet, one of my absolute favorite instruments. I hope it's one of yours too. Now, in our woodwind family, so far we have the flute and the clarinet. Well, there's a third instrument in the woodwind family, and it's our largest one. I'm going to grab it. It's over here. Okay, this is called the saxophone. It also uses a reed, a little bit bigger. Comes in two parts. Here's the big part. It's made of brass, so it's made of metal. Lots of buttons. Look at them all. We have, hold on. We have the bottom part and the top part. We call this a body or a neck. So the neck is going to go onto the body. Now, the next part, I'm going to put that reed on there. It's going to make the sound the exact same way that the clarinet makes its sound. See, all these instruments are very closely related. The flute and the clarinet and the saxophone. They're all closely related because they're all woodwind instruments. They all have a lot of keys. They all have a lot of buttons on them. The flute is the highest pitch of all of them. The clarinet plays high notes and low notes. Beautiful instrument. Now this saxophone, it's a deeper sounding woodwind, but if you look at the entire band, it's kind of right in the middle. It's not too high, it's not too low. Okay, so here's the saxophone. If I was going to stand up to play it, you'd see it like this. I know I can't get you all on the screen right here, but that's all right. You kind of get the idea of how it's going to sound. Okay, let's listen to this. This is going to be a little bit loud. The saxophone, it's a big instrument and it's made of metal. I know you can't see it when I'm playing, but I'm going da da dee da dee da dee dum dee dee deem dee 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 dee. See, there's little buttons where I can put my fingers. All right, well, let's hear what a saxophone might sound like in the band. It would probably sound something like this. There we go. So that's a saxophone sound. It's a pretty loud instrument, It's right in the middle of the band. Now, if you're deciding on a woodwind, those are your three choices. We have the light and delicate flute. We have the sweet but mellow, it can kind of do everything, clarinet. And then we have the big one in the woodwind family, the loudest one, the saxophone. Those are your three woodwind choices. But wait, there's more. You could also choose a brass instrument. Now, the brass instruments also play in band, but they make sound a completely different way. Let's explore them. I'm going to put the saxophone down first. Okay, so the way that our brass instruments make sound, this is going to be a little silly. You're going to laugh at me. You're going to laugh at me in person too. Is we take our lips and we buzz them, meaning we flap them against each other like this. Can you see that? I kind of sound like a horse, right? Well, in band class, we're going to learn how to get that a little bit tighter and a little bit higher pitch. It's going to sound like this. Isn't that really silly? Aren't you glad you're on the computer right now? I bet I'm getting spit all over the beginning of my computer here. Okay. If I make that crazy noise into the mouthpiece, this is part of the trumpet and part of the trombone and part of the baritone. If I do it on there, listen to this. This is how all the brass instruments work. All right, so let's take a peek at our first one. Here it is over here. This is the trumpet. The trumpet comes in a fairly big case. It's kind of like a suitcase. You'll look cool when you're getting on the bus or walking around the halls. Everybody's going to say, what is that? What does that kid have? Because it's a really big case that you get to carry around. When I was in fourth grade, back in 1989, I think, my very first instrument, the first instrument I ever played, it was the trumpet. And I had a bright green case, and I carried it everywhere I went. True story. I still have that exact same trumpet. Okay, you ready? We're going to open it up, see what's inside. I hope it's a trumpet. It is. Okay, this is a trumpet. So take a look at it. It's a big pipe that's all curled up. We have some buttons on the top. There's 3 of them. We call these valves, but they go up and down. And you can see this end, that's kind of the business end of the trumpet. And it's got a smaller opening over here. All we do to play this, watch, I'm going to take this mouthpiece, put it inside here. Now, when I blow into it, that's a trumpet sound. That's how the trumpet is going to sound. The trumpet is a bold instrument. The trumpet is a loud instrument. The trumpet is probably the leader of the band. And I know that everybody has to be the leader, but those trumpets, they like to be number 1. The trumpet is a very important instrument because it's loud and it's in charge and it usually has the melody. This is an excellent choice. Okay, now it's going to make sound by using your lips, but it's going to change notes in 2 ways. If I make my lips tighter or looser, watch, I won't even touch the buttons. I can make it higher or lower. The way that I blew my air and the way that I moved my lips made those sounds low, middle, high, middle, low. So I'll teach you how to do that. Now, if we change our lips and we push the buttons, that's how we can start to make sound or different notes. So let's take a look at a trumpet song. Here we go. The trumpet. What a fun instrument. I played it when I was in 4th grade. I still play it now. All right, so that's our first brass family member. Now, the next member of the brass family is often misunderstood. Probably one of my favorite instruments. I think I've said it a couple of times. I'm kind of tied between that clarinet and our next instrument. If this is our trumpet mouthpiece, we're going to get a little bit bigger. This next mouthpiece, see how it's a tiny bit bigger? This is the mouthpiece we're going to use for the trombone and also for the baritone. Now, the trombone, it seems really complicated because it's a little bit big. It doesn't have any buttons on it at all. It just has this weird slide that moves around. What an excellent instrument. What a fun choice. If you're on the fence and you don't really know, you want to be in band, but you don't really know what you want to play, or you're totally easygoing, you say, oh my gosh, I'll play anything you want me to play. Trombone is going to be my number one choice. If I could go back to 1989 and sign up for an instrument again, I think my first choice would have been trombone. I'm not trying to sway you. Play whatever you want. But this is a good choice. Okay, let me show it to you. It's a little bit big. I have it on the floor. Okay. Wait, make sure it doesn't fall over. Okay, here we go. So it comes with this half here. See, I told you it was big. And it comes with this half. This is the half that everybody likes because you can move it. It's like they call it the slide. See how it's going in and out? This is how you play the notes on it. You just move your arm in and out, and it's going to play all the different notes. So to put it together, we just kind of attach it. It's got a little screw on here that I can tighten. Where'd that mouthpiece go? All right, here we go. Now when I put it on, I'm going to back up so I can move that slide. See how that thing's going in and out? What an awesome instrument. This is the lowest sounding instrument in the entire band. So the flutes play high, the clarinets play high, the trumpets and saxophones play middle, and then in the back row, dun, 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 you have this gigantic trombone just laying down those bottom notes. What a fun instrument. All right, let's see what these trombones would do in band. Here we go. That's the trombone. So if you're deciding between a brass instrument, those are kind of your two big choices. You have the trumpet and you have the trombone. The trumpet would be the high-pitched brass instrument. The trombone would be our low-pitched brass instrument. That's hard to say. Now there's one more brass instrument on the list. It's called the baritone. Let me grab it for you and then I'll kind of explain why I'm saving this one sort of for last. Okay, so the baritone horn, we don't offer this every year, but I think we're going to try it next year. What it is, it's kind of a cross between a trumpet and a trombone. Now, unfortunately, this one's a little bit broken. You can see I have a button here, and I have a button here, but I got a button here and it doesn't move. It's broken right now and it has to go out to the repair shop. So I'm going to demonstrate it, but I'm not going to be able to play a whole song with it because I have a broken button. But I can tell you about it anyways. Now, the baritone horn, there's only going to be a few people that play it because it's hard to rent and we only own a couple of them at the school. So we look for usually 2, maybe 3 people to play it. It's fairly big. Okay, who am I kidding? It's gigantic. It's a gigantic instrument. Now you might say, hey, isn't that a tuba? If you know what a tuba is. The tuba is that real big brass instrument. Yes, this is a tuba, but made for 4th graders. So it's almost the size, It's kind of like the size of a kindergartner. But we're gonna let the fourth graders play it. It's a deep pitched instrument, and it's gonna be sitting in the back of the band playing the really low notes. When you get a little bit older into middle school and definitely by high school, we'll give you a bigger version of this, and that'll be the tuba. So the baritone, this instrument right here, is kind of like a small tuba. Or the tuba is kind of like a big baritone. Here's what it's gonna sound like. Now, keep in mind, I have a broken button. You're gonna hear this. I can only play a few notes with it, but you kind of hear the idea. I could probably wiggle a valve. Okay, that one's pretty neat. Now, if you're interested in baritone, reach out to me first, because like I said, there's only a few spots that we have. Most people, if you're interested in those low, deep instruments, you're going to choose the trombone. But this is also an option. Okay, so those are the main instruments in band. We have our woodwinds, the flute, the clarinet, and the saxophone. And we have the brass, the trumpet, and the trombone. Maybe the baritone. There's one final member of the band. Now, this one's a little bit strange. They're all a little bit strange. But this one's a little bit different, I should say, because it's the only instrument in the band that you don't blow into. This is going to be what we call the percussion section. Now, the percussion section is kind of like everything else. So if I need, it's going to be drums. If I need somebody to keep a beat, doom, 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 that's the percussion section. If I need somebody to take some cymbals, crash, that's the percussion section. If I need somebody to play a triangle, ding, ting, ting, well, that's the percussion section. Now, in lessons, you're going to learn mainly two instruments. Let me show them to you. The first one is going to be called xylophone. And the xylophone looks like this. It's kind of set up almost like a piano, right? Let's see if I can get the thing to show you here. Okay, you're not going to tip over, are you? Oh yeah, we can do it. Okay, so I have my xylophone. Now what we're going to do with this is you're going to play notes. Okay, that's going to be the xylophone. So you're going to learn how to read the notes. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. We'll learn the sharps and the flats. You'll learn everything that the other students or band are going to play, except for you're going to be doing it with your hand and these things, the mallets, where the band will be doing it with buttons and keys and brass and woodwinds. Okay, that's our xylophone. And I'm going to grab one more for you. The final instrument in the percussion section is this. This is called a snare drum. I'm going to make it a little bit, no, that's a good height. Okay, now this one is very, very loud. This one is crazy loud. So I'm going to put this rubber pad on it so it doesn't blow out the computer speakers here. This is going to be the dum, 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 dum. We're going to keep a steady beat with it. And your drum might sound like this. Okay, we'll put that snare drum away. We'll put this away. And come back here. Okay, third graders. So that's your very quick introduction to band. You can choose from 7 different instruments: the flute, the clarinet, the saxophone. Pick one of those 3 if you think you like the woodwinds. Or if you like the brass, you're going to pick the trumpet or the trombone. Maybe you'll even sign up for the baritone. But trumpet and trombone are kind of our big ones. So flute, clarinet, saxophone. trumpet, trombone. If you still want to participate in the band, but you're not going to play a brass or a woodwind, something you're going to blow into, there is space in the percussion section. You're going to be playing xylophone and snare drum. Now, if you have any questions at all, please feel free to send me an email, call up the school. I'm at Sanfordville this year, so you could have your parents call the Sanfordville office and they'll direct it over to me. Next year, I'll be teaching band at Park Avenue, and I'll be teaching band at Sanfordville as well. I really hope you decide to sign up for band. I'm really looking forward to meeting you. All right. See you next year, fourth grade.